Hello everyone, welcome back to Cloud Institution. So from today we are going to start a new series that is on Terraform. So from today we are going to see set of videos related to Terraform and from the beginner series and then till the advanced series, right? So how are we going to create a Terraform scripts and what is Terraform and what the different commands are there, and we are going to deal with a lot of Terraform topics going forward. So as part of this series we are going to start with Terraform introduction. Okay, so now just let's see what is IAC first of all. So first of all, before we are going to Terraform, we should be understanding what is IAC. Okay, so IAC stands for Infrastructure as a Code. It's a method of managing the IT infrastructure using code. Okay, so what is IAC? Means infrastructure as a code. So infrastructure code is nothing but, so if you want to create some infrastructure, what do you mean by infrastructure first of all? Infrastructure is nothing but the collection of services on cloud. Means if you wanted to create some instances or if you wanted to create some storages or any kind of services in cloud, so those kind of resources will be created manually most of the times, right? So the IAC has been introduced, which is infrastructure as a cloud, has been introduced to enable the manual, to avoid the manual provision of the resources, and so that's the reason why the infrastructure as a code is being implemented. So it's the key practice in DevOps. So this Terraform comes under DevOps tools. Okay, so which helps teams deliver application and their supporting infrastructure quickly and reliably. Okay, so that's what called IAC. Infrastructure code is nothing but you're creating infrastructure using a code. Okay, that's what called infrastructure as a code, right? So now let's see what is Terraform. Okay, Terraform is nothing but the open source infrastructure as a code tool, so created by HashiCorp. Okay, the HashiCorp is the company which created this Terraform infrastructure. It allows you to define and provision infrastructure. Okay, so it is used to define and provision your infrastructure. What does it mean by provisioning? It will create your infrastructure. Okay, so it will create how many instances you want and how many so how many key vault or how many storage accounts, and so it also supports multiple clouds, right? So if you want to create complete infrastructure using code, then Terraform is the best tool. Okay, so it enabling automation and repeatable deployments across various cloud providers and on-premises environments as well. So this not only supports the cloud computing on public clouds, it also supports on on-premises environments as well, right? So now, so benefits of using benefits of using Terraform. Okay, so benefits of using Terraform is like multi-cloud support. So many of the companies are using AWS and Azure and GCP. So all these cloud providers, they're using with the various clients. So if they wanted to have a single repository, single place where they can manage their code, so in that place, in that particular time, they use multi-cloud support. Okay, so multi-cloud support means like so this particular Terraform will be used for multiple cloud providers. Okay, that's a major advantage of using Terraform. So next one is easy to deploy. So Terraform is pretty simple, so you have to copy the code and then it'll be able to you'll be able to deploy the particular code, quickly. And if, for example, if you want to create 100 instances, within a fraction of minutes. So if you want to create those kind of instances, and so it'll be very easy for you to provision all these things. So declarative configuration. Okay, so this configuration is not very declarative. Okay, so you can just define your configuration, and so you can use those configuration with your automation. So next one is automation, right? So if you want to create automation of some of the some of your services, if you wanted to automate, means so if you wanted to make something automated every day. Okay, you can write these kind of scripts, or if you wanted to destroy, so automation in the sense, if you wanted to destroy some of your services, for example, at the end of at the end of the day, if you want to destroy all the unwanted instances or unwanted storage services, or unwanted and also unwanted the VPCs and unwanted networkings, whatever is created by by teammates for the testing purpose, so for all these things, it can be done using this Terraform. Okay, it can use for automation in the high level. So state management, what is mean by state management? So all the Terraform configuration will be so will be stored in the Terraform state. So whenever we are using Terraform state, the Terraform state will be used to provision. For example, if you're using if you're using Terraform, then the Terraform will be store your entire infrastructure in the state, so in the file, in the form of state. Okay, so whenever you are deploying the next time, so this particular state will be called, and then based on that particular state, it will provision. Okay, so resource graph. So it shows the resource graph that, so it can also have kind of a resource, in which order it should be creating, and it is very easy for you to see, so what is the dependency of the resources. For example, if you're creating resource group, and then if you're creating virtual machines and storage accounts, and so the resource graph will be showing that, so what is the top layer of your resource, which is the resource groups, and then underneath what are the services are there. Okay, if you want to see all these things, this resource graph, the Terraform will be used. And what is modular? So modular is nothing but reusability of the code. Okay, so we can, and also, like, so if you have a bigger infrastructure, if you wanted to break down into the multiple pieces or multiple modules, so you can just also use the multiple modules, and you can just combine everything using those particular modules, and you can call them in the modules. Okay, so we're going to see all these things in the real time. And so the module is nothing but, so breaking down into each and every services, and you are just applying those services based on your need. Now, consistent workflow. So the consistent workflow is nothing but, you'll be able to use, the single code for multiple environment. For example, if you are using dev environment and staging environment and prod environment. So whatever the environment we are using, then so this particular particular Terraform will be used to, so particular same code base will be used to provision all your infrastructures. Okay, so next one is reusable code. What do you mean by reusable code? Okay, so if you are, if you are using one code, and that code will be usable for multiple configurations. So, okay, for example, if you're provisioning a VPC for your one infrastructure, okay, same module that can be used to provision, so some other projects as well. Okay, you don't need to create the different code for different infrastructure or different projects. So you can define your code, and you can put it in your repository as a module, or you can just use the same code for multiple projects. Okay, so you don't need to write the same code again and again for the different projects. Okay, so next, we are seeing the Terraform workflow. So what is Terraform workflow? So Terraform workflow is nothing but, how Terraform will be working. So as a user, as you can see here, so he has to write the configuration, and then it'll be, as a first step, it'll go and do a Terraform initialization. What is initialization means? It'll download all the configuration for your provider. For example, if you are using AWS, it'll download all the dependencies, and then um, it'll use Terraform format and Terraform validate. It'll validate the syntaxes. It format means, like, so it'll format based on, like, so the alignments. Okay, so it'll make alignments, and it can do a validation, and then it'll do a Terraform plan. Okay, so what do you mean by plan? Terraform plan is nothing but it's kind of a blueprint, okay, of your infrastructure. It'll show you that, this is what the configuration I'm going to create. Okay, so then it's going to be next step is going to be Terraform apply. Apply means it's going to be provisioning your infrastructure. Okay, so and then it's going to be Terraform destroy. Terraform destroy is nothing but it's going to, destroy completely. So if you wanted to remove all your delete all your infrastructure, okay, so whatever you created, then that Terraform destroy will be used. Okay, this is what called Terraform workflow. Okay, so that is all about, like, a Terraform introduction. Hope you understand this Terraform. So what is Terraform, and what is the, so what is introduction, what's the advantages, and what's the workflow, and all this stuff, right? So from the next video onwards, we're going to see, some more concepts about Terraform. Okay, so hope you like this video. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please stay tuned for more videos like this. I'm going to have a series of this video, and then please stay tuned, and we'll be continuing with the other videos. Okay, see you again in the next video.